Fontes, the Secretary of State here in our state, says that, again, they were prepared for this. They had a contingency plan in place for this very scenario. He says there is still enough time between when Democrats nominate a candidate and the ballots in our state are printed.
Our systems are robust enough to be able to absorb this kind of uncertainty.
Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes with a message of confidence tonight. He says Biden's historic withdrawal from the presidential race, less than a month out from the Democratic convention, won't cause issues come the general election.
There's different things can happen, and if something unfortunately might happen to one of the candidates, we've got to know exactly how to act or react so that the voters are taken care of.
Fontes says they had a contingency plan in place, ready for any changes or issues that might arise during election season.
After the national conversation started up a few weeks ago about a potential new Democratic nominee, we certainly put that plan on the front burner.
Democratic delegates will nominate a candidate at the Democratic convention on August 19th through the 22nd, or possibly before during what is called a virtual vote. The DNC then has until August 25th to submit their presidential nominees. That means they have enough time to print the ballots that reflect the new candidates.
Our printing deadlines for ballots are set by the counties. Those are going to happen in the end of August and early September.
Meanwhile, GOP leaders are threatening legal challenges over removing Biden from the ballots. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson believes Democrats are disenfranchising voters.
14 million people went through the process and chose this nominee, Joe Biden. Now a handful of people have gotten together and decided he's no longer suitable. That's not how this system works.
Fontes pushing back on that argument tonight.
There's a difference between disenfranchising voters as a matter of trying to keep them from participating and whether or not a candidate decides to move forward.
And some other deadlines to keep in mind. Military ballots are mailed out on September 21st, and early voting ballots go out on October 9th. Guys.
Emma, thank you.